Hey, Brendan. How you doing?
I'm great, man. What's up?
Oh, I'm just getting our next pick for the recently regrettable here lined up, and I think it's gonna be a good one. I think you're really gonna like it.
Okay.
So it's about a movie. It's a movie about this guy who he's killed, but then he's brought back to life by like a corporation that wants to use him to fight battles anonymously.
I guess we could do the. I don't think this was from last year, but I guess we could do the RoboCop remake. That's cool.
No, it's not the RoboCop remake. Although I will say Joel Kinnaman, he is just a terrible luck when it comes to films. Great when it comes to television.
Fire your
No. It's not that. It's not that. Him and Jason Clarke's agent issues aside, no, he's a soldier actually, not a cop. And then again he's killed in the line of duty or in service, and then they bring him back this tech company, and they want to have him fight crime or fight their wars again anonymously.
Okay, so I think Universal Soldier came out in 1992, though.
No, it's not Universal Soldier. I mean, that's a great movie, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. It's there's all kinds of like crazy balls out action, and people are falling like from the roofs, and he doesn't talk a whole lot, and he's there's all kinds of frenetic action with the cameras and fights. It's great.
Oh, Nathan, I cannot watch Hardcore Henry. I get motion sickness.
It's not Hardcore Henry. It's it's based on. It is based on like a pre-existing property, like some literature. This guy, he's forgotten who he is and his wife, and he's trying to find her again. And he has to. It's almost like he has to. He'd go anywhere into like outer space to help try to figure out what happened to him.
Total Recall?
No, not Total Recall. Guy Pearce is in this actually. So
Space Jail.
Oh my god. I can't even deal with this anymore. I'm so beat from this. It's exhausting me talking to you about this movie.
I mean, are you all right? Like your eyes, like they're really red. They're almost like bloodshot.
Yes, that's it.
When I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me: what were they thinking now? What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Welcome, everyone. This is our final episode of Recently Regrettable.
Final episode.
Or, fuck 2020, whatever you want to choose. This is, Nathan, this is your second pick. You have chosen the Vin Diesel spectacular Bloodshot. And I'm Brendan.
I'm Nathan. And spectacular is really overselling this thing.
The
disaster piece, maybe.
The epic, the grandiose masterpiece of cinematic excellence.
Oof. No?
Too much? Okay.
No, that's far too much.
But this movie is too Herculean a task for us to attempt to decode ourselves. So we have brought with us a master decoder, the inspiration behind the film The Imitation Game. Ladies and gentlemen, making his way to the podcast once again, Mr. Galen Howard.
Hello. It's a pleasure to see you both, and it was not a pleasure to see this movie. I'll say that right out front. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I think the worst thing I can say about this movie is that I'm just fairly indifferent about it.
Yes.
There's a lot that it was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thing, and then within 2 minutes I've forgotten about that, and then for as fast paced a film it is, it's very slow. and I think that's about what I'll begin with.
Okay, well there you go. Takes right off the bat. So Bloodshot is, of course, a comic book movie. Sorry, Josh. Starring Vin Diesel. And this movie got hit with the pandemic because I think it came out like a week before everyone had to go home or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I mean,
like did it actually hit theaters?
It did, yeah.
Technically, before they shut down, or for like a day and a half.
But this movie
makes sense.
Has a very modest budget of $45 million. And it, because of, all the shutdowns and stuff, it only made about 37.3. So didn't do too well. I don't know what the numbers are for the streaming. I'm assuming that's going to be like a part of the lexicon soon. It's like, well, on streaming it made.
They're going to have to. There's just no two ways around it.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 84. Give me them stats.
Or, don't.
I want to know. Well, they've already said they're making a third one, so apparently it was successful.
Okay. Wide release for this movie came on March 13th.
Okay.
2020.
So
that's right when we all went in our bunkers.
Yeah. Hit streaming March 24th.
Oh, okay. So right around the time the world shit its pants then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this, Nathan, take us through this wild journey of Bloodshot, who, by the way, nobody ever calls him Bloodshot in the movie.
No.
Just to say that.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that one check in its favor. We don't get the merciless flaunting of the movie's title. But what we do get is 4 production companies before it starts. Okay. This movie, as we described in the confusing opening there, it's a knockoff of a lot of different properties. Vin Diesel plays a soldier who is actually not killed in the line of service. He goes on a mission, then he comes home to his loving wife. They are then kidnapped.
What's her name that he says 30 times in 5 minutes? Juno.
It's a good thing you brought that up, Galen, because this movie is so forgettable. I forgot everybody's name except for Katie.
Yeah, because her name is KT.
Yeah, the only reason why is because the movie gave me a nifty little mnemonic device so that I could remember it, and Wiggins.
Yeah. Wiggins. They say Wiggins a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vin Diesel says Gina about as many times as he says family in the entire Fast and the Furious saga.
So we are treated to her being executed, and then him, we believe, being executed. And he wakes up at a facility where he's been informed that he is now, I guess, a universal soldier, although not because, trademarks and whatnot. Right. He then goes on a revenge spree to avenge Gina. And some nefarious things about the corporation that brought him back to life are revealed, and hilarity ensues.
And we should mention every plot turn in this movie is super predictable.
Very much, yes. It's pretty cliched, and some of the twists I feel just come even way too early.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, start us off, Nathan. We're in Mombasa, Kenya.
Right after the 4 production company logos.
I gotta say too, the cinematography, like at the beginning, the cinematography is pretty good. Like some of the shots are beautiful.
The opening mission scene is done very well. Mm-hmm. Vin Diesel and his platoon are on a hostage rescue mission. They go into this kind of rundown building, dispatched with some terrorists. They come to, of course, face to face with the one who's holding, I guess, the one and only hostage in the place. And he psychs the guy out and shoots him, saves the hostage, goes home to Gina, and just gets off the plane and leaves his uniform jacket on the runway at one point.
Yeah.
He gives her a big kiss, takes his jacket off, and just throw it, and gets in the car and leaves.
And right away, I'm like, if this movie, now we'll obviously get into it later what the like twist is, but like if this movie is going where it's going, I feel like this whole opening part needs to be even dumber, right? Because if they're going for what they kind of explain later, this needs to be way more cliche.
How do you feel it compares to the far superior Universal Soldier?
I mean, Universal Soldier is so cliche and ridiculous that if this twist was in Universal Soldier, I'd be like, oh, that makes more sense.
I just feel mean like not as a whole, but like that right. Opening scene.
Right. I don't even remember the opening scene.
They're in Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
I mean, overall, I feel like this film just wasn't dumb enough. I mean, it's not bad enough to be fully enjoyable on that level. You're just there's enough there where there are moments like that opening scene that almost trick you into thinking this is a decent movie that's grounded in some kind of reality. And then it's like, okay, then something really stupid comes along, and then it's just, but it doesn't. Tonally, this film is completely off.
Yeah, right. It's not dumb enough, and it's not good. It's not clever enough to be dumb, but it's not dumb enough to be for that whole thing to work.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted it to just go that extra mile into just like a full-on like Stallone level shitstorm, and it never does.
No, because they want to seem smart.
But I guess Vin Diesel did tell the production crew he wanted to go on vacation to Italy because that's where we go next, right?
Bobbity boop Italy.
Gabagoo.
Yeah, you go to Bobbity boop, you get some gabagoo. Because that's where he goes with his wife, and Gina's British, by the way. So we've got mumbles and accents.
There are a few of those in this actual Brits or people pretending to be British.
This movie is nothing but mumbling and accents when it comes to the dialogue.
She also used to be that actress also used to be married, I think, to Elon Musk. I found out.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, Talulah Riley is her name.
Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if Vin Diesel had in his writer that all the other actors had to be sound just as unintelligible as he did.
I don't want to make everyone sound stupid.
So just have other people come in and they can't. So you can't understand what they're saying.
What's Guy Pearce doing in this thing?
I love that, like, every movie we've done with you, Galen, there's like a lead actor that's like such a crazy person. Like, we've had like Vin Diesel, we've had Steven Seagal.
I thought of that as well.
Yeah.
Before it was Seagal and Danzig. Yeah. And each of all the films we discussed just turns into this terrible accent impersonation fest. A lot of guttural mumbling.
I did make a fun MST3K note when he woke up the next morning after spending the night in Bobbity Boop, and he's looking up at a fan flipping slowly across the ceiling, and all I wrote down was Italy. Can't believe I'm still in Italy.
Oh my god, if they remake Apocalypse Now with Vin Diesel in that role, or Vin Diesel as the Marlon Brando role, that would be amazing.
Or both, yeah.
Oh,
both roles. Yeah.
Holy shit. Wait, so
don't put stuff like that into the ether.
Oh, I'm putting it. Everybody better be listening. He's Willard with a really bad wig, and then he just takes it off for Kurtz.
Absolutely, yeah. They just do like the cheap back and forth, cheap shot back and forth. You don't even cheat the frame. It's just
you don't even put them in the same shot. He's like, no. The horror.
Yeah.
But he does wake up the next day. And that's after also they have that cliche conversation where she's talking about his scars and he's like, you don't like my scars? And she's like, I just don't like the stories they tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And like when and the shot where he reveals his scars, I mean, they look like just someone poured some wax on him. I mean, like they did the makeup for all the effects in this film. They did those makeup effects in like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
The next morning, he is attacked and drugged and kidnapped and reunited with Gina as they are both tied up in what I think is a meat locker.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, and I was like, it's all right, it's gonna become a Rocky movie now. Oh no, it's a family reunion because he's surrounded by dead slabs of beef.
Wah, wah.
It's also quite possibly my favorite part in the entire movie.
Yes,
for like
and
30 seconds.
It's funny because they make note of this later in the movie and make fun of it for being cliched, but it's the right kind of cheese and it's done just so.
Yeah, because you have the villain. By the way, his name is Martin Axe, and he's dancing to Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads.
Yep.
And it's so funny. And like, if they had put more stuff like this in the beginning, though, I think it would have made it a genuinely better movie. Because then you're like, oh, this dude is like, making it like cheesy like a movie. It's hard to say without giving away the twist.
They don't go enough in that direction. I mean, that was their moment of trying to be like Guardians or Deadpool, but they didn't go full. It was like the producers allowed them. They pitched like 5 scenes like that, and the producers let them have that one.
Exactly.
But I defy anybody to hear that song and not want to dance in a very similar fashion.
In a very similar way to the way that Dr. Doom did.
Yeah, exactly. So Max, or Martin Axe.
He has Anton Sugar's weapon.
Thank you. That's the first thing I got here. It's like, oh, sorry, friendo. That's from another movie. A better movie.
Your princess is in another movie.
He's got the the air gun thing that they use to kill cattle. Well, that makes sense. I mean, they are in what looks like a butcher, like a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
With all the slabs of beef hanging up and one tied to the chair.
I think it's like a bolt gun, right? It's more of like a bolt gun.
Yeah. So he's threatening to use it on Gina, and he wants to know who tipped old Vin Diesel and his folks off to the to the place that they raided in. Where'd you say they were again?
Mombasa.
So he doesn't know because he's I just follow orders. I don't get that. I just go where they tell me, that sort of thing. And of course, Max or Martin Axe kills and of course this sends Vin Diesel into a full-on rage when he says, don't, you're dead. You better kill me now because I'm gonna find you and I will end you. You better kill me now. And he says, well, thanks for the advice, and he shoots him. Cut to black. Bloodshot, credits. And then
by credits I mean that's where the opening credits come in.
Right. Yeah. So he wakes up confused and alone, much like Vin Diesel does most days. And
wow.
Damn.
Well, after his wife found out he hit on that lady in the
that was a weird interview. Don't like it at all.
Had that interview in Beautiful Land.
Oh my god.
So we were treated to meeting Katie or KT, one of the only 2 people in the entire movie whose names I remember.
I also love that one of the few women in the entire film we just know her by initials.
Yeah.
Yes, but it sounds like Katie, so that's why it's easy to remember, right?
But it's KT, whatever that stands for.
And just to let you know,
because her name isn't, we don't care about it.
How forgettable everybody else except for one other person in this movie is to me. In walks our main, which we think is a helper. It turns out to be our protagonist. Antagonist. Stay tuned.
I mean, this is an Ed Harris situation. Guy Pearce walks into the room and we're like, he's the villain. And I know he's played heroes before, but in this movie, I mean, come on.
But I see him and I'm like, oh, it's Guy Pearce, and that's the only way I note him. The rest of my notes, it's Guy Pearce. It's Guy Pearce. Yeah. It's Vin Diesel. They have character names. I didn't bother to remember them.
No, I'm right there with you. Every time I wrote down his name was Vin and Guy.
Yeah. And so he starts, giving Vin Diesel the lowdown as to what's going on with him. You can't just tell him, of course. He has to cut him a bit so that he can heal, and we can find out that he is a Universal Crow Soldier Terminator.
Yeah, he's made of nanites, just like G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra.
There you go. So yeah, and the only time the whole time this is going on, I'm thinking I want to watch Universal Soldier so much more, and then this happens. I'm like, oh, now I want to watch The Crow so much more. This is also the point where we start to meet the rest of the team, because it's not just Katie, Guy Pearce, and Vin Diesel. They have to have a whole team because, one, it's based on a comic book, and two, if this actually does become successful, merchandising.
Mm-hmm. Gotta get those White Castle Happy Meals ready.
Right. So we got a guy. We got Oscar Pistorius.
Okay, that's I did write down these names. That's Dalton with the robot legs.
Okay.
And he took out Bin Laden, you guys. They mentioned that. He's
just like every other Marine says.
Yeah. I took out Bin Laden, and then
Dalton?
The other one
How
is.
did I not remember that? Isn't that Patrick Swayze's name in Roadhouse?
Sure is.
Yeah, Dalton. Yeah.
And then Tibbs. Don't call him. Wait, they call him
Mr. Tibbs.
Mr. Tibbs.
Damn it!
Has a camera feed for eyes.
That seemed actually kind of rude. Why couldn't they just give him like a Geordie LaForge type situation where the cameras are up where his eyes are,
Yeah.
not where like next to his nipples? So he ends up being like that sketch from Saturday Night Live where they had eyes for
their eyes for where their nipples are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we've even discussed that, the three of us.
Oh yeah, no, we discussed that in the with the chick with eyes for nipples.
Right.
In Veronica.
From Veronica, yeah. Man, those things just keep coming back to you, Galen.
It's all coming back.
It all comes back to Veronica.
So again, that design seems rude. I mean, really.
I also think
if you're gonna get into a fight, you want to see things at chest level, or you want to see them up where your head's at, where all the important stuff is. Like your brain stem. Oh, a lot of the brain stuff is up there. So
super warped, right? Like you're not getting a very good view of it. Like everything's kind of out of perspective and everything. When
they show it to us, it almost looks like they have like a fisheye lens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
all this makes Vin really sleepy. He's like, "That's too many names to remember. I gotta go back to sleep."
I'll take a nap. I feel like that was just him in the middle of the film, just being like, "You guys, just go take a nap." They just wrote it. They just left it in.
Just walk off set. Yeah, leave it in. It looks real. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I believe that he's tired.
But he does find out he's super strong, right? Isn't this where he finds out? And he starts breaking shit. He starts breaking load-bearing pillars.
Well, that's just because he goes and he can't sleep because he keeps having the nightmare flashes, and he wakes up and he punches a wall and realizes, hey, I can break stuff with my fists, and just goes and just it destroys rather rudely a heavy bag in the gym. And then just starts unloading on a giant concrete pillar, which could actually bring the building down around his ears.
Good. I was waiting for that moment. I was waiting for the moment of the ceiling to fall in, and then everyone around, and then there's dead bodies around him, and then he's cool.
He just breaks through like a fucking zombie in Return of the Living Dead, and he's like, "Ah!"
There's just an old woman dead in her bathtub, just lying there.
Wait. So you're saying that in this facility they have a next door neighbor just upstairs that's an old lady? And
yes, yeah. It's like room 227.
Didn't you catch she was banging on the ceiling with her broom, telling him to keep it down?
Keep it down.
I don't care how many nanites you got. I'm a nanny.
Very good.
Womp womp.
It's a stealth prequel to The Pacifier.
Oh no.
Oh, nice. Oh, good callback. Yeah, see, that's why I hang out with you guys.
There's a brief montage where as he punches and breaks stuff, and we see Katie doing her swimming thing, because we didn't actually really say this too much. We covered it with the fish nipple guy and Oscar Pistorius, but everybody in this group is battle damaged in some way, shape, or form. And KT, she breathes through a respirator, and they say that makes her impervious to inhalants, which does that make sense to anybody?
I don't understand. It's like there must be a filter.
Triple HEPA filter in that thing.
Yeah, and that whole sequence, the dispensing of that information it felt so arbitrary, because really none of that comes back. None of that tells us anything about those characters. It's all just, well, you have these powers, so here's some other people within a similar situation.
We do get to see KT use hers in Mission.
Briefly.
Real slow actually. Her whole situation was run past so quickly in the explanation in this movie when Patty and I were watching it, and she takes advantage of her abilities. Patty was like, "Well, how come that didn't affect her? What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, because she's got that little disc on her chest. That's her respirator, so she's impervious to inhalants."
Yeah, it's not laid out super clearly or effectively.
No,
Yeah.
not unlike.
And we do get to see her do a lot of underwater ballet.
Right.
Right after that.
Yeah. Oh, and
The
yeah,
underwater ballet sequence it added nothing to the film. But it was pretty.
It definitely seemed tacked on, and this is where they have their first kind of we think it's just a kind of a tender moment between Katie and Vin Diesel.
Mhm.
God, I wish I'd taken the time to know his name.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
He's just Vin Diesel,
Where we find out that she knew Master Chief.
What?
Well, she was given a medal by her Master Chief, which I believe is a military rank in the Marines. But just the way it's so offhandedly used these days, and anybody says that, I immediately think they're talking about Halo.
Vin Diesel was like, plan it. I want to do that next.
Yeah. Well, if anybody can get it done, it might be him, because they've only been trying to do it for since the game came out.
All video game movies are pretty much great too, so it should be
if he could get a movie made about if Vin Diesel could get a movie made based on his D&D character, he can do just about anything.
When's that Street Sharks movie coming?
Man, I had a long protracted conversation with somebody about that years ago, because he actually had a legitimate fear, sharks. More specifically, sharks getting out of the water and attacking you, right? Because Sharknado was a thing at the time, and it hadn't been done to death at that point. And so I was making jokes about him being afraid of the street sharks, sending him these pictures through email of the street sharks. He's getting so mad. He's like, no, not like that. I mean, they're flung at you, or you're supposed to be safe on land, and all of a sudden, boom, a shark is there.
I feel
Very
like though
specific.
if they did a Street Sharks movie, it would have to be gritty, like the Power Rangers movie that came out a couple years ago.
Oh my god, but it would look so ridiculous.
Yeah, because that Power Rangers movie did not look ridiculous at all.
Yet to see it. My kids have seen it, said it was good. I never liked the Power Rangers to begin with, so
It's something.
yeah,
Not as bad
okay.
as you'd think.
That's what you could say, yeah.
How does it stack up to Bloodshot?
Variety calls it something.
I don't know. It's kind of a big pile of nothing, so it's pretty similar.
Okay, so
There
Bloodshot.
you go. Glowing praise.
Yeah.
Put it on the cover.
He has old Vin Diesel has a bit of a mental break here. The character he's playing, not Vin Diesel himself, but I mean, it might be cinema verite. We don't know.
Yeah, a little bit of column A, column B.
They're having shots, and they're talking about, they're regrets, or in his case, not being able to remember his regrets. And then all of a sudden we hear Psycho Killer come on the PA. Oh,
back.
yeah, and that makes him remember all the stuff that happened. Gina.
It's all
And
back,
he
Gina.
he breaks a table and stuff. He's really hard on furniture, this guy, in this movie, I thought.
He is, and then he just like steals a random truck.
He does, which seemed odd considering there was a whole parking garage filled with like really flashy muscle and sports cars, and then he steals a truck, and I'm like, huh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
People, that's how I stretch as an actor. They're expecting me to take the sports car, I take the truck.
Yes. Yeah. And so he takes off, and he goes and he steals a Gulfstream that belongs to the company that he works for. I remembered that name actually before I remembered his name because he worked for RST.
Is it like Rising Spirit Technology?
No, it's RST Video. We're located next to the Quick Stop in Leonardo, New Jersey. It's also a local trucking company here in New Brunswick, but I liked it because of the Clerks reference.
Well, maybe we should look into that. That sounds dicey.
All the while he's driving to find his target, Max, Martin X. He's using all his nanobots or nanites to hack the planet, and find out where he is. And so he deduces that he's in London, and he must steal a Gulfstream to fly to avenge Gina's death. And he downloads all the flight manuals for the Gulfstream so he can learn how to fly it. I expected him to say, "I know Gulfstream," when it was all said and done, but he didn't.
Here.
And so he flies off to London. Of course, he's hunting down Martin X or Max, and he really should have known something was up. Not necessarily while he was in the process of eliminating all the bodyguards that Max had, or Martin X, however you want to say it. When he actually gets to him being Max or Martin X, he's real wormy and nerdy.
Yeah.
Like the absolute opposite of what he was like in his remembrance, dancing to Psycho Killer in the really, fashionable urban jacket with the, the $300 flip-flops and the beanie hat and everything, and being all smug and sly. He was not smug and sly in any way, shape, or form when Vin Diesel encounters him. And he should have been like, "You're a lot different than when you killed my wife."
Would you lose your nerve?
And he would like, "I didn't kill your wife. I didn't do anything like that."
I like also. Did you guys notice
in England?
Did you guys also notice that apparently before Vin Diesel shows up, he's talking to a bearded Nick Offerman on the phone?
Yes. Yes. I had noted it was Nathaniel Rateliff, but it's a tomato type situation.
It just reminded me of him a lot.
The whole battle here is
terrible?
It's got a montage. It's terrible. It's not needed. And I did notice at one point though during this that he book flipped one of the bodyguard's guns. Like, hey nerd, nice book, flip, and he like knocked it out of his hands. It was the same way. That's exactly how he did that. That was like one of the only cool things that I really enjoyed in this whole fight.
He also gives someone a Daniel Bryan style dropkick. Got it in wrestling.
Yeah,
reference.
There you go. Boom. I got one coming later.
Okay.
So, but we good that you got us handled early out of the gate. Get in there. That's right. And he kills Max or Martin X, and he meets up with his guys again at the Gulfstream, and he's like haggard, and he's like, "Well, you know what, I'm done." And old Katie says, "Yeah, I'm done too." And he's like, "Well, what does that mean?" But we don't get into that too much because then we go back and we get our first twist in a extensive soliloquy from Guy Pearce.
Oh wait, is this? But I think before that don't we find out like doesn't Dalton put Vin in like that in that hospital bed thing?
Oh, maybe that's, you know what? It's the soliloquy. This is my terrible note taking and possibly drinking as well. The soliloquy doesn't come from Guy Pearce. It actually comes from Dalton.
Yeah, because he puts his gum underneath the bed, and then you see that there's like 10 pieces of gum, and you're like, oh, it looks like this has happened before.
Yeah, and then, you know, the whole thing, you know, he spells it all out, what's going on, and, you know, which, okay, I understand us seeing all the things happening to Vin Diesel and not knowing that this is, you know, the multiple time around for him. Why does everybody in the control room act like it was the first time, even when they're not talking to Vin Diesel?
It's like it's a Fantasy Island situation.
Yeah, because later when this happens all again, because it does, everybody in the room is just kind of like, you know, whatever, by the numbers, let's pretend to be, you know, excited or surprised when we're talking to him. But anytime they're not talking to him, even like as Dalton's like, this guy's a jerk off. Like, what an idiot. Like, it basically just running the guy down the entire time. Why is none of that happening in the first one? Because, of course, it would give away the twist even earlier than this.
Yeah, like I said, it's a Fantasy Island thing where they're like, oh, the person that ends up being the killer, you know, is this character, but why is she surprised at things happening early in the movie if she planned the whole thing? Like, it's like that's such a cheat, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, at this point, they mentioned Vin is a soulless vessel that they just keep bringing back to life to exact revenge on their enemies. And I wrote in all capital letters, "What? They're the bad guys? No."
I will say, thank God we were not spared for we were spared rather a shot-for-shot reenactment of what we just watched over again. They just kind of meted it. They did it really quick in like flashes and stuff like that, because if this movie was trying to be smarter than it really is, there was an absolute threat that we would have had to watch that whole opening again, but him looking for bearded Nick Offerman instead of Max or Martin X.
They do instead, like, yeah, I was hoping for a Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 situation where we just watch the movie for 45 minutes.
So yeah, at least there's that, and we didn't have to relive all of it.
KT, by the way, we know that KT is as opposed to this whole thing. She's standing her ground here.
Well, she's starting to. That was the whole.
Getting to about halfway through. Yeah.
Well, there was that hint to that thing that we're both done, and Guy Pearce kind of gives her some shit like, "What was that all about? Why are you saying that?" You know, we have a very specific script that we have to keep to.
Yeah, and they're basically an acting troupe.
Pretty much. And
they're the rude mechanicals. Yeah.
They're a full-time acting troupe, part-time multinational corporation that brings the dead back to life.
Right.
Yeah. We get if they halfway through they went on a school tour, you know, and like, hey kids.
Sorry, we got to close the offices for 2 weeks. We're going on that school tour,
right?
To teach kids
about drugs, yeah,
and bullying through improv skits.
Right, yeah.
Should we bring the soulless super soldier? This is where we also finally get the breathing device thing, because KT is like threatened with it. Because he's like, Guy Pearce is like, I'll turn off your fucking breathing device if you don't do what I say, because he wants her to he just wants her to go with the flow.
Yeah. He wants her to do what he says. Yeah. And will kill her if she doesn't. Which, right away, I mean, if you hadn't already guessed, Guy Pearce is a bit of a sociopath in this movie.
What?
Although he did have a fantastic line. It was probably the most dad thing I've ever heard anybody say. I don't know if it was this scene or it was the one later where he does something very similar to her, where he says, I only ask you out of a sign of respect. I don't need to. And I'd appreciate to have that respect shown back to me. And I was like, okay, all right, gonna save that one for later.
Yeah.
I think this is also the bit where we get like a random dick joke, where that dude and that tech guy is like says something to Katie, and then she's like, "Oh, by the way, 6 inches is not a lot," and he's like, "It's not, it's not." And then you see him later.
Well, yeah,
asking...
it's a callback to the beginning.
Yeah,
because he has in the program, because now we know that all the stuff that it's all programmed, it's all fake dialogue. Max says to Gina before he kills her, do you think you can take the whole 6 inches? Yeah, like making it sound like it's gigantic. And then
and then
obviously
says, and then says to Vin Diesel like, "Oh, like ha ha ha."
And so we're led to believe that line was created by our IT fella here. And
then he asks Guy Pearce later if he can have a robot dick.
For an enhancement, he wanted an enhancement on that.
He basically asked him if he can have a robot dick.
That was so wild. Like see that those are moments like that where it's like it's trying to where they're trying to get in that kind of Deadpool style humor, but
and
it's like
there's glimpses like that, like of greatness
of that, but it comes out of left field
or out of nowhere, like an RKO. A wrestling reference, got it in. This is where we find out, of course, all this stuff is scripted, and they rewrite the program and they change the model of the bad guy so it looks like whoever Guy Pearce wants killed next. And Guy Pearce actually kind of gives him a bit of the business for writing in the bit about the cliched killer dancing to Psycho Killer, and I'm like, that's like the best part of the opening salvo of this whole thing.
Yeah, how dare you, Guy Pearce?
How dare anybody, even people who actually legitimately wrote this movie, give that shit, because that's like one of the best things you do in your entire movie, and you call it hackneyed and cliched.
I think at that point it's revealed that there's just kind of the missed opportunity here, because there's when you realize that everything's a script, like A, who cares, and then B, like you can do so much. I mean, like if there was at a certain point where like someone was like, well, fuck you and take over, and then they start writing the script, and then things start looking different, and there was so many opportunities to figure if they had held off on that and then figure out like what's reality and what isn't, but they just kind of throw it out there like so lazily, like this is what's going on, but they take so little use of that whole gimmick.
Yeah, it just feels like a wasted opportunity.
And so now that they've reprogrammed him to hunt down bearded
Ron
Nick
Swanson,
Offerman, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, muscly
John Swanson.
John Swanson,
because he's bearded, right? And it's like his cousin. From East Sussex. Now, I didn't know that our little province had a section that looked like this. I thought I'd been to East Sussex before. Didn't see that many skyscrapers.
Might not be ours.
And they sure did talk funny, didn't they, Crucky? Oh, wait.
Wait, do we all have British accents in New Brunswick?
In East Sussex, apparently.
Oi, Galen, is this how I sound?
Not from East Sussex.
Yeah, I hear no difference. What? You doing an accent there?
And so just about everything goes like it did in the first one. When he was looking for Max or Martinax. And he steals the plane and flies to East Sussex. I didn't even know East Sussex had an international airport that he could land a Gulfstream at, but surprised every day. Every day you learn something new.
You learn something new.
And so he's tracked down where John Swanson is, and he goes and just goes up to the gate, and knowing that he can be shot and appear to be dead, he, as the IT guy puts it, Trojan horses the facility, because they're like, how's it going to get past security? It's crazy. The security is immense. So he walks up to the front gate and says, I'm here to kill John Swanson.
Which I thought was weird because I was like, we just saw him wipe out so many people in that tunnel. He could have easily just killed all of them. Like, I don't know why he needs to do this
because
style.
it was and I think no, it came before this, and it actually came before he went looking for Martin Axe or Max. Yeah. That the nanites actually expend energy and they have to be recharged. And the more he gets shot and the more he gets damaged and they have to recharge, or they have to fix him, the more juice they use up. So this actually is a smarter approach, because if he had gone at it full barrel like he did in the tunnel when he was looking for Max or Martin Axe.
Don't play that Martin Axe Max drinking game, guys.
Oh God.
Don't do it. I'm already down 10 beer here.
If he does that, then of course he'll use up all of his nanite energy far too quickly, and he'll actually legitimately die, because that's what he's warned against. And I feel that doing it in the tunnel is one thing because it's a convoy, versus doing it in an entire place where there's all kinds of people. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. He's going to get in, he's going to stealth around, he's going to sneak, and he's going to... Nope. He pretends to be dead, and they takes him in, and he just takes on everybody anyways.
Yeah. So he just does it from within.
Yeah. Rather than just, storming the gates from the get-go, he lets himself get shot, they drag him in, so he still fights, kills everybody, and gets shot at like a gajillion times. But he starts in the lobby as opposed to in the courtyard.
But thankfully, John Swanson has his own. John Swanson has a tech guy, Wiggins, and he has an EMP. By the way, Wiggins has an EMP, and we think that Wiggins is going to press that EMP to stop him before he kills John Swanson. But he lets Vin Diesel kill John Swanson first, because he's not a great guy.
No, he's not.
And he kills him. And I think that's so. I think they did that. I wonder if they did that so that it's like, okay, yes, he's under, he's being manipulated. Vin Diesel's being manipulated, but we can't see him kill like a totally good guy.
Yeah.
Like, we need to make this guy an asshole so the people don't hate Vin Diesel's character.
And he actually, it's funny because the guy is, he's another research and develop guy like Guy Pearce. In fact, they were partners. We find out that this whole scheme is Guy Pearce using Vin Diesel to take out the guys who used to work with him, who decided he was being unethical and walked away. And so to show them that how ethical and upright he is, he hires regenerates a Frankenstein monster to kill them all.
Man, you just made me think of another great movie that Vin Diesel should be cast in. Frankenstein.
Is this a young Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Yes. I am Groot. I mean Frankenstein.
I get to play the doctor. No, Vin, you don't understand. This is not the point. But
they show him, and he is just as dismissive and abusive to his underlings as Guy Pearce kind of is.
Yeah, and Vin kills John Swanson.
Yes.
But then Wiggins shuts him down with that EMP. And we get some hilarious back and forth between Vin Diesel and Wiggins. They have the chemistry like it's something I've never seen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if only he and KT had the same level of chemistry.
Right? I mean, it's just electric.
Yeah, I was rooting for him and Wiggins, like you guys got something, stay in Italy another week,
Do it.
Get it going.
Yeah, take a pottery tour. Whatever.
Oh, yes.
They should eat, pray, and love.
Oh, there we
go. They should. All three.
At once
at the same time.
But doesn't Wiggins this scene is endless because he talks about basically what we already know, right? That they're awakening Vin Diesel to do these suicide missions.
But we haven't heard it with a delightful Cockney accent.
Right.
Right. And it is delightful. Lamorne Morris from New Girl is doing a delightful. He's playing a delightful Cockney hooligan hacker.
Yes.
I don't think anything they give him to say is that funny, but it's not his fault.
No.
No, he makes the most of it. He absolutely does. He's probably he's probably the one bright spot in this whole shitstorm.
So, well, he the only other character whose name I remembered.
That's right.
Without having you guys remind
Katie.
me of them. Like, yeah, Katie
Like
and
Juno.
Wiggins. Oh yeah, but you reminded me of Gina, and
I did remind you of Gina. Yes, I had to remind you of
Gina.
mostly around the eyes. And Brendan was the one who reminded me of Max or Martin X.
Oh, do I look like him? That's cool.
Yes. It was more of that time that you threatened to slaughter my family with the bolt gun.
I'm
That's what
glad
it
we got
was.
over that. I'm
We
really
did
glad
get
we got
past
over
that.
that. It was silly.
It was
so
a
silly.
wild first year for this podcast, let me tell you.
Man, that criminal episode was awkward to record.
Right? and also another kind of bit that or trope that they use in this movie is using that where he starts getting flashes of what really happened.
That's true. I totally forgot. I totally did that unintentionally.
Yeah, and so then because Wiggins has explained this all to him, and his brain is shaking loose with the memories, he sees all of the things, all the times rather, that him and Gina were killed, but every single time it's a different person. So now he knows that they're telling the truth, and Dalton had said
Tibbs.
at one.
Oh,
was it
yeah,
Tibbs?
Dalton,
One of them said that kind of told him that his wife was still alive.
Oh, is it one of them? Oh, it's Dalton because he said it while he was on like the operating bed or whatever.
You think your wife every single time you think she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he goes and to find Gina, and also comes down to find out that it's been 5 years since he last saw her, and they actually left on not murderous, maybe not the most amicable terms possibly, because it does sound like it was kind of a bad breakup, but no one was killed.
This is where she left him for Elon Musk.
Right.
She's got kids.
And
he was married to the life, man.
Because and that's it. He wouldn't. Their argument was always that she wanted him to stay home, and he was always going out on one more mission.
One more ride. We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Then that's not you.
Family. So he finds out that they're broken up and that it's been 5 years he's been doing this. But he doesn't really have a whole lot of time to process this information with all the microprocessors, because he's given chase by Oscar Pistorius and Tibbs.
Yes.
Yeah. This is actually a pretty fun little chase. I'm not gonna fib. I did enjoy a lot of the stuff. I mean, it was a lot motorcycle sliding and crashing and things like that. Dalton loses his legs again.
I wrote down when that happened. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dalton. Whoa, Galen, you get it from Forrest Gump?
I see movies. I've seen movies. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Coming soon. Wait, what?
Ooh.
Well, they get Vin. They get him because they shut him down, and then this is where Guy Pearce actually does turn off KT's breathing device for a while.
Right. Yes, I have respirator standoff here.
Yeah, because he wants her to go get Wiggins, because he's like, oh, I got to take out Wiggins now. Yes,
and this is where he uses that line about not needing to ask her, but doing it as a sign of respect.
Yep.
So she of course is coerced into doing this. She takes off and she tries to basically to pick up Wiggins by asking for a light, and then knocks him out with whatever the cigarette was laced with. And this was the part where Patty was like, "How come that didn't hurt her at all?"
That's a good question. Also, why wasn't Wiggins way more careful at that moment in time?
I think we're supposed to think he's kind of a derp. Like, he never worked with Guy Pearce or anything like that. So I don't think he necessarily may have thought that his life was in direct danger because of everything. Although you are right in saying that, because he just found out about a multinational corporation bringing people back to life, Universal Soldier style, to use as mercenaries.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And just this, like, you got a light? I don't know. I mean, it's a harmless question, but I think I'd be a little more cautious.
Oh, but she's a purty lady.
She is a purty lady.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. I just figured it out, guys. The way it doesn't hurt her is because she's immune to those toxins, remember?
Yes, yeah, that's why, because she's
I
not
didn't get
actually
it right
breathing
away.
anything. Okay.
I totally didn't get it. So when you said Patty said that, I was like, yeah, I forgot just like she did.
Yeah. So she's not actually breathing through her throat, she's breathing through the respirator.
Yeah.
And because it has that triple HEPA protection, as we mentioned earlier, she's immune to inhalants. Which, I mean, kind of, you think about it, yeah, I mean, from going into battle standpoint, great. Recreational drug-wise, though, poor design, just a poor design flaw.
Yeah, she'd have to take edibles, I guess.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a almost literal mental showdown between Guy Pearce and Vin Diesel, in that it all takes place in the mind, like kick punch.
This whole scene where he's talking to Vin Diesel in his head or whatever. He's like, "Oh, let me make the scenery more comfortable." That reminded me so much of Serenity.
Yes, yeah.
Matthew McConaughey one.
So all of a sudden we're at a undisclosed fishing village somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's at this point, because they're not getting anywhere. Guy Pearce is like, I can't talk to you, and they lose communication, or he cuts off communication, and we find out that, quote unquote, Wiggins got away.
What?
That's what Katie tells Guy Pearce.
Oh, that Wiggins.
We know
He's a
that's
wily
not
one.
The case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
This
KT
is
starts fucking with the simulation in Vin's brain.
Yeah, because they say there's one more. Basically they're going to put Wiggins into the simulation. So Vin Diesel will hunt down and kill him. And Katie starts messing around with it, which I don't know, man. I feel that given the amount of people who are in that room looking at that thing, and the fact that they're changing it on the fly, because they want to get it done as quickly as possible, to get Vin back out into killing people, that nobody noticed her getting into the simulation to try to help him.
She did kind of slink out of the room very like.
I don't mean like that. I mean like from an IT perspective. Like no one noticed another terminal coming on and screwing with the code.
That's Hollywood, baby.
Yeah.
I want you to start using that for every situation, Galen. If you can't, if somebody has a
Hollywood,
question,
baby?
That's Hollywood, baby.
Baby! Yeah.
Galen, why'd you throw that piece of trash on the ground? That's Hollywood, baby.
Hollywood, baby! Yeah. Why?
So-
Yeah. Why is it? Yeah. Why is the country in flames? Hollywood, baby!
Hollywood, baby.
CNN headline on the front page.
Yeah.
So we find out that Wiggins did not get away. He's down in the truck. He's breaking into the systems for our RST, because the guy who helped design the systems used his Wiggins's open source code in some of the coding, so Wiggins can get in lickety split. So thankfully, it's not a situation where you're like, oh come on, how could he hack that fast? Well, if they use his code, he knows the code, he can get in. That's fine. I'm okay with that movie. Good on you. That's a plus. A check in the plus column for you. Not a whole lot of those, so enjoy them while you got them.
It does seem like the movie though is like trying to save its own ass by having Guy Pearce be like, "Why would you do that? That's silly." Looks at camera. Like, hey, just because you admit it doesn't get you off the hook. All right.
So Wiggins gets in and he's all like, "Yeah, all right, high five me." And there's nobody there with him. He's like, "I need real friends," because this is the silly, fun comedy part of the movie.
Yeah, it's he's talking to no one.
He's talking to no one. And so then he starts trying to give Katie some, information on how she can, stealthily delete the servers and wipe all the information away. And she just, hucks a couple grenades into the server room.
Meanwhile, Vin has a terrible fight on an elevator with Dalton in like a weird, like it's almost like the first draft of like that Doc Ock outfit from Spider-Man 2.
And I actually would say he would have been more Ant-Man because he only had six.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said it was like a first draft.
Yeah.
For Doc Ock. He's like, 6 legs. What am I missing? I want to call myself Dr. Octopus, but I don't know what doesn't add up here. Octo is 6, right? What's going on? Come on, think.
Sure.
Yeah, Dr. Hexapus doesn't.
That actually sounds like something else. Hexapussy is my favorite James Bond film, though.
So he blew up the she blew up the servers. Arms a video game. We also find out as Wiggins was doing his thing, he was also disabling protocols on Katie's her hardware because old guy Pearce, he tries to shut her down to kill her, and he can't do it. He's access denied. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Although he's still using like stuff, like he's still using his biometrics or bionic stuff rather in his arm to connect to things. Like if he's access denied on being able to shut down her breathing apparatus, why wouldn't Wiggins just lock him out of the system entirely so he can't use any of his toys?
That's Hollywood, baby!
Hollywood, baby!
Shut up, you assholes.
Sorry, that was Hollywood, baby. I apologize.
It's Hollywood, baby. It can't be helped. Sorry, baby.
We find out we find out that the Heughan heart can be overclocked, apparently.
Oh yeah. Wait, what?
Well,
yeah,
because
that was shoehorned in so randomly.
Well, it's so they can get that computer term wedged in there, but in regards to the human body, because he has a nanites in him now.
Right, because after Tibbs fell to his death and he punched Dalton into fucking oblivion.
Tibbs fell to his death because of Dalton, which really, really drives home the fact that he is an irredeemable asshole.
Yeah. But then, Vin has the showdown with Guy Pearce. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing about this movie. Let's talk about it, guys. No.
Now here's the thing about this movie?
Yeah, this is the only
An
flaw.
hour in? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In a typical movie like this, you usually have like the hero, I guess, start out with like not already being a fucking brick shithouse like Vin Diesel. Because when he turns into Bloodshot, it's like, okay, he's more powerful, but he was still Vin Diesel before. Like, he wasn't like some little wiener, like, discovering his powers. He wasn't like, he wasn't like Captain America, who was like, rail thin and, 16 years old or whatever.
No, he starts out as essentially Captain America post-serum.
Yeah, he starts out as a superhero.
He's jacked up. He's athletic. He's a dead-eye quick shot. And apparently a high-ranking military guy. Yeah. So right out of the gate, the only transformation is the nanites, and all you're doing is taking something that was already pretty damn strong and making it super damn strong.
And that's what I mean. So you see this showdown with him and Guy Pearce, and they're like, oh no, he doesn't have his nanites anymore. I'm like, it's still Vin Diesel, guys.
Yeah, right.
It's Vin Diesel versus Guy Pearce with a robot arm that isn't working right.
But the only thing is, of course, if he takes damage, he can't be repaired, because there's no nanites. But other than that, you're right. He's still Vin Diesel.
Well, what is Guy Pearce gonna do?
Well, he fires off a mortar at him before the nanites run out, and he blasted into like literal smithereens, and then reassembles. And this is what drains he's almost drained completely of his nanites. He catches the next mortar, and he actually uses the nanites to strip down the outer shells of the mortar and basically just grabs the ordnance and detonating device, holding it in his hand.
Yeah, and how is he alive after that? Because I thought he was human.
because that's it. He's holding that in his hand. But the only thing I can think of, and I don't know. It's a comic book movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that because he had given the nanites to Wiggins earlier, so he could get a sample of what he really was. Those nanites were still active, could be recharged, and could regenerate him after all of this happens. Because here's what happens next: they meet face to face. Guy Pearce is like, "You got no more nanites. What can you do?" And he just opens his hand, and he's got the mortar right there. Both of them blown up in a giant Michael Bay-esque explosion.
Yep. And that's amazing. It. And then he wakes up later and is like, "Hey, I'm all good." And he and Wiggins and KT again, he's hanging out with the only two people whose character names we remembered and are still alive. They're just going to be like a traveling acrobat thing, I guess.
I guess
they're going to start their own acting troupe. I hope. I hope that's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do appreciate that they don't do the romantic thing. I did kind of appreciate that because I was like, the actress playing KT.
It almost seems like they were
just
just about to, though.
They were trying to, but there wasn't enough chemistry there. They were like, yeah, I would more buy him like making out with Wiggins.
If that had ended the movie, I would have been like, brave film. I love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and just before this comes to an end, we did find out, Nathan, that this is from the same writer that brought us Fantasy Island and Blumhouse's Truth or Dare, Jeff Wadlow.
There you go.
Ah, the Wadlow, the Wads.
Classic Wadlow.
Oh, Wadlow.
That's our Wadlow.
So I guess so that's Bloodshot, eh?
Yep.
Galen.
I guess.
Galen, we have a new rating system on this show. I will tell you about it right now.
Tell me about it now.
Yeah, right now, just before you rate it. I want you to tell me if Bloodshot is worth a watch, a drunk watch with friends, you would attempt head trauma to forget it, or avoid like the plague.
Okay, interesting. It's a drunk watch with friends. I mean, I think significantly drunk, but yeah, I think it's definitely a kind of film where the booze has to do the majority of the work. But I think it's not terrible enough or like full on ridiculous, like Hobbs and Shaw level ridiculous to be like, oh, this is super fun. But it's like, if you need something, if you need like to stay awake long enough, you need something to stimulate your eyeballs, like it's there.
Yeah. All right, Nathan.
I'm not going to say it's so terrible that you need to avoid it like the plague. So I would have to relegate it to attempting head trauma to possibly forget it. Although I don't think I need to, because
that's the thing.
It's so terribly forgettable.
This film is so forgettable.
Yeah. And for me, like, honestly, I found this was a hard one to rate because, like you said, like we've kind of said a few times, it's not a very good movie, but it's also not like it's not bad enough to be a bad movie, but it's not good enough to be like, a solid movie. So,
and it's not bad enough to be so bad that it's good. It's just, it's a nothing burger.
I'm gonna repeat my review from Fantasy Island and say that for me, it's between a drunk watch and attempting head trauma. It's somewhere in the middle of those two.
Okay.
Sounds like someone needs to rethink their
go ahead and
cheat new rating system there.
Gonna go ahead and cheat that whole rating system.
I already did it this month, so whatever.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Brand new rating system there.
Listen. You can go in between if you want. I never said you couldn't.
Oh, you're a real in-betweener, aren't you?
I am an in-betweener, just like whoever's in that movie.
Right, you're a tweener.
Yeah, I'm a tweener.
Ooh, tweens. Yeah.
No, not a tween. A tweener. It's a wrestling reference.
I don't speak the wrestling.
I don't like how Galen followed up with tween with
Ooh. Yeah.
On that note,
Yeah, this could be the episode where I get canceled. We don't know.
on that note, we are going to take a brief commercial break, and we will be right back.
What were they thinking?
What Were They Thinking is brought to you by HostGator. HostGator is a leading provider of shared, reseller, VPS, and dedicated hosting solutions. Award-winning support is available 24/7, 365 days a year via phone, email, and live chat. Discover why over 9 million websites trust HostGator. Use the coupon code SCHLUCK for 25% off your first purchase. That's SCHLUCK, SCHLOCK, for 25% off your first purchase.
What Were They Thinking is brought to you today by GameItAll.com. Whether it's video game news, the latest in music, or movie reviews, GameItAll.com is your one-stop shop for all nerdy talk.
What were they thinking?
And we're back.
You're back.
Yes, so turn those dials, folks. It is time for the Low Haiku.
Yes, the Low Haiku, 17 perfect syllables that we hope you'll remember about a movie that was absolutely forgettable.
That's correct. So Galen, as our guest, would you like to read your haiku
I
first?
would. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
No problem.
You're welcome.
Anytime. What? Oh, okay. You win.
Okay. Okay. It was a comic book. Now it's a movie. Kind of. Can I go now?
Yes. Yes, very good. Very, very good. Okay. Nathan, did you want to go next?
Yes, I will. It's not Unisol, not even its trash sequel, the one with Goldberg. Wrestling reference. Got it in.
Another one. Well, we got to do it when we have wrestling superfan Galen Howard on the show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
All right, here's my haiku. Vin is very mad. Soldiers help with revenge, and Guy Pearce? Oh, villains.
Excellent. Good work. Good work.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Morning Zoo Crew with Gator and the Squee.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
love
That's
Gator and the
Galen's.
Squee.
That's Galen's audio clip that he just played. Oh, actually.
Gator and the Squeeze? Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, we talked about Bloodshot, but Nathan, what do we always say?
Well, here at the Morning Zoo Crew with the Gator and the Squeeze, we always say,
Don't take a word for it.
That's right, folks. Don't take our word for it. Why, just listen to the folks over at Rotten Tomatoes. Nathan, I'm sure the critics in the audience were in line with this one.
ugh, you could not be more wrong.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, quite the divide. A chasm, if you will, of Grand Canyoning proportions. The tomato meter, 30% with the critics,
Okay.
78% with the audience. The audience apparently really liked this.
The only thing I can think of is because this went to streaming shortly after, everyone that really wanted to watch this watched it because it was like $20.
That's probably a very good point.
I did not spend $20 on this movie. I just want to put that in the universe right now.
Nope, it's free
I
on
spent
Prime.
You spent what?
$8.
Is it not on Prime?
It's on Prime Video.
Oh,
no,
no.
not in our not in our region. No.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I would have set you up with that.
Don't you?
Boo! Boo,
Sorry.
Brendan! Boo!
I'm sorry. I feel bad now.
You now because of you, I own Bloodshot and the Glimmer Man.
Oh, you had to buy them?
What?
I had to buy the Glimmer Man too, you asshole.
Come on, renting wasn't an option for that.
No.
What?
Well, no. The thing is I always take too long. I do the Paul Scheer method of just watching it over like a 5-day span.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have to just buy it.
Oh, well, Galen, I'm glad I could add to your digital film collection.
My digital library. Oh, it's just a mishmash now. It makes
Bloodshot,
absolutely no sense.
Bloodshot and Veronica sandwiched between The Graduate.
Yeah. I have like ordinary people next to the Glimmer Man. It makes no sense.
Of which no one in the Glimmer Man is that.
Right. Boom.
Tobolowsky comes pretty close.
That's true.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. He definitely has that Donald Sutherland vibe.
He's a glimmer of hope.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, but Bloodshot.
Critics' reviews of this movie. Let's start out with Stephen Romai of The Australian. He says, the fast-paced, ever-changing storyline is the strength of this movie. Positive review.
Crikey. Sean Edwards from Fox 4 Kansas City.
Oh, boy.
You're the one that will need resurrection after watching Bloodshot.
I think you mean Gene Shalit.
No,
because
this movie didn't do so well, but at least they gave it a bloodshot.
Yeah, you're right. That would be Gene
Shalit. Yeah. Then he chimes a tambourine, or a little triangle.
He twists that gigantic mustache of his.
So Dan Buffa from KSDK.com writes, I know, hello, the Boofs, as they call him. There's nothing good about this movie. You've seen it before and much better. Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill comes to mind.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
Other than the fact that they're both slated in the action genre, there are no
there's absolutely nothing.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's like, okay. He's clearly seen 2 action movies, this one and Hard to Kill.
Yeah. He might see the Glimmer Man, though. He's thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
No, you don't, Galen. I have audio proof that you don't.
Hey guys, watch the Glimmer Man.
When he highly recommends it, he means that he's high whilst recommending it.
Gotcha.
He's highly
Hey man,
while recommending
watch the
it.
Glimmer Man.
Yeah,
I'm Mark Maron, apparently.
We should all get more baked and watch the Glimmer Man.
Man.
All right. Richard Roper. Richard Roper.
Oh, the ropes.
That hack.
Of the Chicago Sun-Times says,
Richard.
wow, harsh takes on Richard Roper. By the time our man/machine finds himself in the time-honored pickle of dangling by one hand from a ledge 50 stories above the ground, Bloodshot has already given us an action movie hangover.
Because watching this movie was not unlike having a hangover. I remembered some parts, forgot a lot, wished I could forget some, and I had this weird cotton mouth, and I don't know why. So I have one from Chris Gore from Film
Gore!
Oh, yeah,
oh
Chris Gore, the man, the myth, the legend.
He gave it a positive review and wrote, the Hollywood pitch for Bloodshot must have been something like, it's Iron Man meets Robocop by way of Wolverine. I don't know why I said that like Stan Lee, but I did. Which actually kind of works as it combines with some of the best aspects of these solo characters. All 3 of those movies are well over 6 hours. I would rather watch those back to back to back than this again.
One more time.
Yeah.
All right, Galen, give us one more critic.
Oh, if we're going into the other critics, I'll give Galen his, and just like I have one quick one, super duper quick. It's from Linda Cook from Quad City, from Davenport, Iowa, and I think she hit the nail right on the head when she wrote, "The big reveal, ... isn't."
Brandon Avery from Just My Opinion Reviews writes, writes the following. This film is awful, and after the first 30 minutes you're clock watching and would rather be balancing your checkbook. If there is any enjoyment to be had, it may be from the effects department, but other than that, I only recommend this film if I'm playing some sort of practical joke on them.
All right. Well, guys, that's enough professional opinions. Let's find out what the audience thought about this movie. So enough of these professional critics. Let's get into the audience reviews.
The people.
The people. We want to know what the people say. All right. First one here is from Char M, or Charm. Gives it 4 stars. Charm gives it 4 stars and says
4 out of stars.
4 out of stars. Sorry. Had we not had lockdown, I think we would have seen a much better outcome for this movie. I think it has been underrated because of how much a tragedy 2020 became.
Wow, that's sad.
I don't feel like the best economic and health year could have saved this movie.
Well, we'll have to take it up with Charm.
All right. From Nick M, we have the following. Bloodshot, more like blood shit, COVID-infected movie.
Oh, shit. Oh, shot. Shit's fired.
Oh, it's
Shots
because that
fired.
was the bananas shotting out of... Never mind.
Oh, no. Not again.
No!
What do I got here? Oh, Samitha N. She wrote, a bad version of Ryan Reynolds' Selfless. 3 out of stars. I don't think that she saw that either she didn't see Selfless, or she's commenting on a different movie under Bloodshot on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, I think she just means because he's in a, I don't know. It's like because he's in a different body. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
But he's not.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know. Also, it's weird. Like, I think Selfless is not that bad, but like, it's weird to say like, it's like a bad version of this classic masterpiece.
Selfless is actually is considerably good. Compared to this.
It's like it's fine, but it's weird for to hear. I don't know. Usually when you say this is like a bad version of something, it's usually something that's like really good. It's just weird for somebody to be like a bad version of Selfless. You guys all know Selfless, right?
Oh, so everybody was making all those Selfless references back when that came out.
Selfless.
I remember I actually changed my my background to Ryan Reynolds, but my avatar to Ben Kingsley, just so I could actually get in on the action, so everybody knew I was cool.
Guys, I changed my name to Ben Kingsley for a few months. I'm just gonna say.
You just wanted people to call you Ben Kingsley. You were trying to make that happen.
It was expensive. It was worth it. Okay, Raw S gives it 5 out of stars. Perfect out of stars rating. Says, have to disagree with the bozo who said this is an old school action film. There's nothing old school about modern CGI. I cringed when I read the review as if they could project their pseudo-pretentious intellectualism any harder. Good flick. Something to watch with the fam on a movie night when your kids are a little older. Movie will keep you engaged and the plot piques interest. To say the least, thrilling.
We get a 2 out of stars review from Matt with 1 T, K, who eloquently puts it as thus: the film want to show Vin Diesel, and he spells it Vendissel.
Oh man, why isn't that on the critics' side?
I know.
So I've got one here from Jackson B, which I assume is Jackson Brown.
Jackson B.
And other than he writes, other than must be somebody's baby, he wrote, it's all right. Vin Diesel is very good in the action scenes, but anything that has to do with emotion, he just can't do. The concept of this movie is interesting, boring, fast. CGI is a bit messy towards the end. Overall, it's entertaining and a decent action flick, and it must be somebody's baby. 2.5 out of stars.
Just sounded like Jackson Brown reading beat poetry. Singing it.
I figured that
Yeah.
that's what he was
Yeah.
going for.
Well, on Quaaludes. Yeah.
Well, and then at the end, does it say this movie was running on empty?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I got two. I want to read two because they're very, very quick. And they're hilarious. Jonathan T.
Ooh, get ready.
Jonathan T gives it 5 out of stars. Better than expected. Nice sound. And then Lawanda gives it 5 out of stars and says it's an action movie and Ben Diesel is a good actor.
Ben Diesel. Okay. This is from Linda C, and she gives it 4 out of stars.
Linda
Cardellini. Says, Linda Cardellini. Yeah. She goes, really liked it. Marvel-esque, fun and not too dirty for the family. Don't understand the critics these days. She capitalized critics, and don't think that their opinion mirrors Holmes trying to keep out the filth.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
The critics are not paying attention to Holmes that are trying to mirror out the filth.
Okay.
Not in line with their beliefs.
Yeah.
It's not Marvel-esque.
That is their
it's
job.
Valiant-esque. It was a Valiant comic.
It is. It's Valiant-esque, like all the other movies based on Valiant comic books.
Better than Parodic was. Hey, this is another. Not only is it another terrible accent fest with some goon in charge, it's also another comic book movie from a non-reputable comic publisher that Galen has been on.
There you go.
That's right.
All right, I got one here. Andy S. I can only assume that's Andy Samberg. And he writes, real shame that it was stopped from a full run of theaters because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It would have been a smash hit. Ben Diesel plays his usual Vin Diesel plays his usual hard man role. Every other cast member plays a brilliant role, possibly with the exception of Dalton and Tubbs, who doesn't take care of what happened to them. Great story, plot, and action. Can't wait for the sequel. 4.5 out of stars.
Nice pose at the end that I enjoyed.
That all the viewers will appreciate.
No, I think that's it. I think those are the reviews.
Sums
We
it
said
up.
the guy's name was Tibbs.
It is. I think that
Mr.
guy just
Tibbs,
put Tubbs
yeah.
by mistake.
Okay.
They
See,
call him
I was
Mr.
worried that he
Tibbs.
was watching Miami Vice.
Probably.
Tubbs.
Yeah, that Michael.
Crockett and
yeah.
Tubbs. Crockett and
Wait.
Tubbs.
Cracker and Tibbs.
Of course, the Jamie
Crack
Foxx.
horror? Oh boy.
No, not crack whore and Tibbs.
Crack horror and Tibbs. Yeah.
The Jamie Foxx, Colin Farrell version, of course.
Yeah, the only one that exists, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, well those are the reviews. We got that under the rug. We swept it. We
Under
put it
the
away.
rug.
Now we should hint at what's coming up next week. Next week, the first 2 weeks, of course, the first 2 weeks of February, of course, Mariah is picking a movie, and then Patty is picking a movie. So it is Mariah's pick for next week's episode, and I'll give a little hint-ski here. I am a robot Jesus.
Yeah, and so I mean, with us, with that in hand, that's what we've been hinting at what we're going to be watching. But it leads me to my question. Hey, in this whole situation, hey, bud, what you watching?
Oh, you asking Galen? Galen, what you watching, bud?
You're asking me what I'm watching.
Yeah, what are you watching, bud?
I've definitely been just going through the recesses of the annals of the Amazon Primi, and let's see, I was on a little bit of a Golan and Globus kick
Nice.
last few days. It rang in the new year with New Year's Evil, great rip-off slasher movie. It has a killer opening title song. A killer with a weird voice, lots of secret identities and ridiculous kills. Lots of misogyny. That's a fun one. I mean, what more would you expect from Golan and Globus? And
That's
then
Golan
follow that up.
Globus.
Hey, And then if I know the good folks at How This Get Made brought this one to attention last year, but if anyone hasn't seen Ninja 3: The Domination,
oh my god, that's an amazing movie.
So much fun. So much fucking fun.
What kind of buffer do we gotta give for that one so we can cover that one? Because I could talk for days about that one.
Is there anything weird in that movie?
You could, You can write a whole dissertation just on the V8 sex scene.
I was gonna say the V8 sponsorship seemed a little out of place. So those are some solid picks: New Year's Evil and Ninja 3: The Domination.
Oh yeah, good stuff, man.
So what about you there, bud? Brendan, what are you watching, bud?
What am I watching, bud? Well, I mean, on the exact same wavelength as Golden and Globus, this couldn't be any different of a recommendation. I watched the movie The Assistant. So it was like one of the first. Yeah, so it was like the first movie made kind of addressing the Harvey Weinstein kind of Me Too stuff. Where it focuses on an assistant who works for like a major producer at a at an office or whatever, and she basically is trying to do something about it, but it kind of goes through her like daily life. Literally, the movie is just a day in her life, where people like women clearly come in and get harassed and have an affair with her boss and stuff. And we see things like her going and like trying to like lodge a complaint, and we kind of see how that works. And it's not a super uplifting movie. But if you see it, I think it gives you a better understanding of like that whole system and how something like Harvey Weinstein happened. So it's
and how it was allowed to go on. Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, it's a very un-Hollywood movie, I would say, actually, but it's really good. And the lead actress, I think, is Carey Mulligan.
No, it's Julie. What's her name from Ozark?
Yes, sorry, I'm confusing that with Promising Young Woman. Yeah. No, it's Julia Garner. She's really good.
Julia
and
Garner.
Patrick Wilson has a cameo as himself.
Okay.
The Assistant.
Yes.
Check it out.
All right.
Yeah. It's definitely. I would love to see them do a prequel and have it and cover an assistant to Golden Globus.
Oh. You want them to make a horror film?
Yes.
Well, bringing that around to what I watched.
What you watching, bud?
Well, I've actually was watching this past week. I recently got a copy of Electric Boogaloo, not Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, but Electric Boogaloo, the documentary film about Golan and Globus. I love it. Canon Films. It's a fantastic documentary. Just a thumping good watch, I gotta say.
It's so much fun.
And it's funny that you mentioned that about misused or abused assistants or underlings. That movie has some really, really, I don't want to say great, but just shocking and amazing, sometimes harrowing stories about the life and times of that studio. Yeah. Things like assistants or just office people would be eating like their takeout Chinese food in the break room, and Golan or Globus would bust in and take their food, run it down to the office because they had somebody show up from who was like a producer or somebody who's like a money man or a star or something like that, and they would make it look like they had ordered them food while giving them this half-eaten Chinese food from some poor schmuck who worked in the office. But there's also some other really great stories about them being just a total DIY. We do what we want, we don't care. So it's one of those things, like, you watch it and there's parts of times that you're gonna be like, I really wish I could have worked for them, and then there's other parts of you where you're like, I'm so glad I didn't work for them.
Oh my god.
So basically, the second part is if you're watching it and you're a female.
No, or just someone who doesn't enjoy being abused by superiors.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but they do have a really cool portion on Ninja 3: The Domination and all the Ninja movies that they did. Chuck Norris, Dudakov's in there. They even have
movies,
former friend of the podcast, Sam Fistenberg.
Furstenberg.
Yes.
Furstenberg. I like it, but he sounds mighty with the Fistenberg in the thing.
Yeah.
He's there. So yeah, I recommend it. It's a really fun, and if you get the DVD, there's a lot of cool like extra stories that they didn't leave in the main cut.
It's super fun. I love the bits about the Apple, their magnum opus.
Yes.
Yeah. About how they gave out albums of the movie, and the audience in revolt hurled them at the audience, hurled them at the screen, piercing it. Yeah. And Manam Golan was so distraught over the reaction that he tried to throw himself out the window of his hotel room.
4 solid recommendations, one slightly different than the other. But enjoy them all. Lift yourself up and then bring yourself back down.
Yep.
Galen, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, you're letting me plug.
Plug away.
Plug away, baby.
Hollywood.
Hollywood. You can follow me on the Instagrams. I post fun things. I say cool things. I've got a mustache. Let's see. I don't know. I'm in a super fun film on the Amazon Primes called I'll Be Around, kind of a Richard Linklater Altman-y take on the indie music scene in Los Angeles. It's got some laughs. It's got some fun stuff. It's a super fun watch, and check it out.
Cool. Nathan, is Montrose Monkington around?
He is.
Oh,
it's
I
funny
hope
how
so.
he's always around.
Yeah, get him out of his bag.
I will go. Well, I'll go get him. Just give me one moment. Hello, it's a good friend Montrose Monkington III here, and it says I would like to extend a hearty New Year. I know we are a few weeks in, but to everyone, I hope it's healthier and happier for you all than last year. I, of course, am Montrose Monkington III, and if you would like to add to your delight into 2021, feel free to tune in to my YouTube channel, Montrose Monkington TV. You can also find me on Facebook and be friends with me, Montrose Monkington III, Esquire, and Friends Facebook group. And you can also tweet at me at Montrose III, that's the number 3RD, on your Twitter devices. Thank you. Or later.
All right. Well, Galen, I just want to thank you once again, third time, for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think this is my second Vin Diesel movie, not including his Groots.
Second Vin Diesel movie you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
I think I saw one of the Quick and Angry movies.
Own all 8 of them.
Unabashedly, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. My wife is a huge fan of those movies.
The Quick and Angry, isn't that with like Sharon Stone and Leo DiCaprio? The Sam Raimi Western?
Yeah. The Quick and the Angry.
No, that's the Fast and Not Alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you can find us on all the podcast apps. You can also find us at our home base at Age of Radio, ageofradio.org/whatwerethéthinking. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. Search for us on Facebook. We are on Redbubble, TeePublic, patreon.com/WWTT Podcast. But Nathan, I guess I have questions
about Bloodshot?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I can remember any of the information from the movie to answer said questions.
All right. Well, in a movie in which what happened in this movie?
That guy did that thing.
Right. What happened with the guy that did that thing?
He did some other stuff and shot a gun.
Okay, so what about in this movie, in a movie where Vin Diesel is definitely in it?
Right, he is, because we say his name.
and-
We said his name a lot in the last hour, a couple hours now. So
And it's on a number of millimeter film.
think so. Wasn't it
35
digitally?
35 millimeter film. Like with your fingers, digital.
I guess.
And in a movie that was released in 2020.
Yes, an actual verifiable fact thanks to the internet.
Okay. I guess I just have to ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Did we watch this?
I think so.
There's a new breed in the neighborhood. Some say they're just no good. Half shark, half man, fighting evil, that's the plan. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. Oh, they're jostle. They bite. They bite. They stand for everything right. They bite. They bite. Chewing up evil with all of their might. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. Street sharks. They bite. They fight. They stand for everything right. Street sharks.
Apparently, 78% of them loved it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 78%. Well, let's see what they said. I'm sure they
They're
thought
calling me
opinions.
right now to tell me.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah? No, I can't say that on the internet. No, I will get canceled. Look, we might get to that review, we might not, but just be assured that these will be entertaining. Okay. No, your mother was. Okay. All right. Goodbye, internet.
Wow, was that the entire Rotten Tomatoes audience score?
That was the internet. Period.
Oh.
The whole
Oh.
internet just called into the show. That's how big we are.
Galen, you're part of something special right now.